Cosmos Atom, a layer zero project that did very well in the 2021-2022 bull market, yielding returns from the COVID lows of just over 4,000%. Currently still 80% down from all-time highs, despite rallying about 40% off of the lows from about 6 weeks ago. So in this video, like the previous technical analysis videos we've been going over the last few weeks, we'll be looking at some bullish and bearish scenarios, where I would like to have my bags packed if I were an investor in the project, and finally some TP areas for the upcoming bull market. So if you do like our content, please do continue to like and subscribe. We've had great feedback over the last few weeks, so I really do appreciate it. Also, drop in the comments below if there's any assets that you would like us to cover. So let's get straight into the charts. We'll get rid of these and zoom in on the current price action. So once again, we have a nice clean high time frame range to work within. So weekly range high of $15.78, weekly range low of $6.24, and then a mid-range coming in at $11. And once again, clear level of significant support and resistance pretty much since the May 2021. So at the moment, you can see we are still in this lower portion of the range, in between that weekly range low and weekly mid-range. So bullish and bearish scenarios, as with pretty much the same across the board with all these altcoin analyses when they're in this range. Bearish scenario would obviously be a break of this weekly range low, which would make us revisit those lows from 2019, 2020. Bullish scenarios, you want to see a reclaim of this weekly mid-range and then work our way up to the range high, break out of that, and then away we go. So if I were an investor in the project, I'd really start to be, if you've not already started dollar cost averaging, now is still a great time. As I say, we're only about 40% up from the low, or 50% up from the lows. And as I say, we've still got plenty of room in this range. We're not even above the mid-range yet. So if I wanted my bags packed as an investor, I'd certainly want them packed before a test of the weekly range high, before we break out of there. But to be honest, maybe even above the weekly mid-range. I'd want to get at least 50% of my position secured before we get above the mid-range, and then can potentially start adding to that on a bit of confirmation. But you don't want to be scrambling and looking to add to your position once we break out of this weekly range high. So yeah, I would be packing my bags now if I hadn't already. So some TP areas to look at in the coming bull market, assuming we of course do break out of this weekly range high at some point at $15. So as always, we have them marked out. Just need to, oh, there it is. So first one, we are looking at around $21. You can see this clear level of support and resistance in the past. It was the top here for a little while in February and March 2021 before breaking over the top and becoming support in May. And then it was also support here in August and December of 2021, and even February of 2022 as well. And then once we melted through that, that's when we came down to the single figures. So let's take a look at where price or what a return from today's price up to those prices would be. You're looking at a return of 130%. Not too bad at all. So as I've said in all of the altcoin analysis videos so far, we are much closer to the bottom than we are the top, as you can see. So definitely not a bad time, even after the rally we've had. Still not a bad time to start thinking about dollar cost averaging and building that position. Of course, if you like the project, not financial advice, of course. Second TP coming in here at just before $30, so around $29. Again, you can see it was the top here back in May 2021, support here in September and October, November 2021, little bit of consolidation here in February and March as well. And of course, once we broke below that, that's when the real selling started. So let's take a look at what a return to these prices would be. And you're looking at a 200% return from today's prices. Not too bad at all. Just two more TPs to go. So again, clear level of resistance here in October and November 2021, and even this week here in January 2022, $37. Again, let's take a look at what a return from today's prices to there would be. You're looking at 300% return. And then finally, definitely worth taking some profits at the previous all-time highs. You can see the amount of drives we had into this area of $45. Let's take a quick look at what that would be, a return to all-time highs when my trading view starts freaking out. 380%. So again, much closer to the bottom than the top. Still not a bad area to start dollar cost averaging in. Now, these TP areas are of course subjective to the individual. When and where and how much profit you take is completely subjective and up to yourself, down to your own personal circumstances. These are purely for illustrative purposes only, just to give you an idea of where I personally would be looking to take profit, particularly if you're new around here, or if this is your first cycle. Definitely have a plan for selling and taking profits, because it takes all that emotional baggage out of the way and leaves you with a clear head. And of course, taking profits, you don't go broke taking profits. So you don't want to be that person that round trips and has nothing to show for the end of the cycle. So these TP areas, again, even if you only took 10% at each of these, that's 10, 20, 30, 40%, you still have 60% in your bag to break into new all-time highs with. Now, you got to remember, of course, that return to all-time highs isn't a guarantee, let alone break into new all-time highs as well. So you want to be taking profits along the way. 3 things you can do with those profits, as I've mentioned in other videos before. You can either rebuy on retests of support. So, for example, say we hit resistance here at $21. You sell a little bit, 10, 20% of your position, and you might get the chance to rebuy back here on the weekly range high. The same could be said for any of these levels along the way. So take some profits along the way, buy on the big dips. You know, BTC often gives 30 to 50% pullbacks in bull markets, so great time to reinvest. You can either buy the dip, reinvest into other projects and diversify, or of course just withdraw it straight to your bank account as profit, buy yourself something nice. So, or of course, keep money aside for those horrible taxes. Anyway, let's move on to the BTC chart. And this one is a lot simpler than the USDT chart. In fact, it's probably the most simple chart out of all the charts I've done on these altcoin analysis videos. Just one big monthly range, as you can see. So it came out around 2019. So we've not got that previous cycle, 2017, 2018 to look at. So as you can see, one big monthly range, and we are very close to the monthly range lows. Now, whether you want to have the monthly range lows here at the bottom of this wick of September 2019, or whether you want to do it to the candle body, I wouldn't argue either way, purely subjective. But yeah, we are pretty much at that range low if you have it to the candle body, or just above if you have it to the wick. But as you can see, we are certainly much closer to the bottom than the top. So with this, I would just want to be packing my bags now if I was looking at this project. Very close to the bottom. Unlikely we break these range lows. Of course we could, and that just gives you more opportunity. A bullish scenario there, if we were to break below these monthly range lows, would be a reclaim of that level. That's when it's definitely full steam ahead, in my personal opinion. Or of course, if we do just continue to creep up, break above the mid-range, and then break out the range high. So in terms of TPs, there's really not much to look at, but I would definitely be looking at taking some profit at around this monthly range high, purely because it's obviously been rejected there before. It would still be a 250% return on your Bitcoin, and if we were to reject, at least you're taking some profits. Maybe you see a rejection here, come back to the mid-range and then go again. As I said before, maybe re-inject your profits and go again. The other reason is, we haven't actually seen it break out of this range even during the bull market, so maybe it never does, who knows. But at least you've taken some profit off the table there. If it does break out, the only real level that I can see is this level here at 12,791 sats. So as you can see, candle wick there. I wouldn't take these into account. These were the first 2 weeks. This probably looks a little bit more trustworthy. So a return from today's prices to that level, you are looking at a return of 400%. So definitely worth taking some profits there. And then if we manage to break above that, then basically just hold on tight and wait for the Bitcoin dominance chart to start creeping back up and the ETH BTC chart to start breaking down. If you want to find out more about the relationship between those charts, the ETH BTC, Bitcoin dominance, and Alt BTC charts, I'll link a video at the end for you to go and watch, where I go over it in more detail. So that's pretty much it, guys. So hope you enjoyed the video. As I said before, drop into the comments below any assets you would like us to cover, and I'll see you on the next one.